All Century 21 real estate offices are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker of Century 21, Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable on 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm here with my husband, co-host, Phil Realtor, Pat Devaney. How are you?
Very good. How are you today?
Excellent. We have with us, for the first time ever, Rob Bistran from Bistran's Outdoor Services. Good morning.
How's it going?
Thanks for being here with us. You are a fellow Dunmorian. You're starting off on the right foot, Rob. We're here every Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 11:30 a.m. where we talk real estate. We have a full-time real estate office with many exceptional realtors who've been listing, selling, and appraising real estate for 50-plus years.
50-plus years. That's a long time. During the week, feel free to email us with any questions you have at questions@jruddy.com. That's questions@jruddy.com, or you can give us a call at 570-344-6724. And when you go to jruddy.com, click on the webcam tab. We have a beautiful camera on the roof with a picture of Dunmore Corners, and you never know what you're going to see on that camera. So,
especially in the wee hours of the morning.
The wee hours of the morning, and we get hits from all over the world on that camera.
Check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram. View our listings, search the MLS listings, listen to archive radio shows by going to mobile-friendly JRUDDY.com. That's jruddy.com, where we also have all the podcast apps that we are featured on after the show airs. If you forget to listen, tune in. Don't forget we have the podcast apps.
Yes, and how are you today, Jackie? How are you feeling?
I'm okay.
You're okay?
Yeah, I'm on a rebound here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was flattened.
You had the COVID.
I had it. I finally succumbed, and it was not fun. But here I am, and thank God the worst is behind me. Before we start our discussion with Rob Bistran from Bistran's Outdoor Services, I want to give a shout out to Robert Kuiper from Waverly. He is a faithful, loyal listener of our show, and I want to say thank you for enjoying our show and letting us know about it. Also, I want to give a shout out to Daryl from Bud Schultz Garden Center.
Daryl, your buddy.
Yes. We enjoyed immensely, the tomatoes. He gave us not only the tomato plants, but the perfect soil and the pots, because we were having a terrible time with our tomato plants in the soil.
Right. And he said, Miracle grow them every 5 days. Now we have a daily tomato harvest, and we're going to have a truck around the neighborhood that I'm going to be selling tomatoes at a discount.
But they are the best tomatoes ever that I've ever
Absolutely
had.
Wonderful.
So everybody in the area, all our neighbors have been receiving tomatoes, because it's no lie. We have been, how about a dozen a day?
Yep. It's time to make sauce. I got to make some more sauce later. I'll be squishing them with my hands.
So thank you, Daryl, because we really enjoy them, and that was good stuff. And, everybody remarks about our plants. Our
hanging baskets?
Well, at our house, yes. People that we don't even know stop and talk to us about them, and where do we get them? We always tell them. Bud Schultz. Also, the plants at the office. I can't tell you how many people have stopped, come in the office to tell us how gorgeous they are. Also from Bud Schultz. So I like to say thank you for making our home and our business beautiful. All right. Rob Bistran.
Good morning.
Good morning. Bistran's Outdoor Services. How long have you been doing what you do, and where do you do it? What do you do, please?
So I've been working in this industry for quite a while now. I officially started my own company in 2019 when I got bored at college one day.
An entrepreneur. I love it.
We service Dunmore and all the surrounding areas. We travel all the way down to the Music-Duryea area, up into about Waverly, and then we touch into Carbondale, and one big circle around that area. We're a full-service landscaping company. Everything from designing, building, maintaining landscapes around the area.
So landscaping, planting, and design. You also do boulder walls, mulch, you sod, you do walkways, you do patios, you do drainage, spring cleanups, fall cleanups. You design, you install, and maintain all these items. And something that really caught my attention, in-ground trampolines. Do you do those?
Correct, we did one.
What is that?
Basically, it's like your average backyard trampoline, and we just kind of put it in the ground, so it's at ground level instead of.
Oh, so if I fall off, I don't kill myself. It's ground level.
Yeah, I mean, you still have the net around. You could still have the net and everything around it. It's just it's a little easier to access instead of going up into it. You walk out into it.
Well, I can guarantee you will never see me on a trampoline.
Or me.
Oh, Jackie, that's right.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. Very, very interesting. So we're getting into the fall here, lots of leaves to contend with. What is the best advice for some front yard, backyard landscaping ideas? Do we just let all the leaves fall at once, or do you recommend periodically picking them up? What's the best tip there?
Should I run over them with my lawnmower and turn them into mulch? What do I do? I need some direction here.
So, in our opinion, the best thing that you could do is to regularly maintain the amount of leaves that are in your yard. So, I mean, you don't have to pick them up every day, but once a week is a good idea. It helps to keep the air into the soil of the grass, because if you have a layer over the top, you're going to suffocate the existing grass, and it's going to end up dying out early. And then who knows if they're down all winter, if those areas are going to come back. We see a lot of patchy areas in the spring when there are yards that haven't had a good fall cleanup.
So what we do in the fall matters for what happens in the spring. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, that they play hand in hand with each other.
You wouldn't think. But we have a lot of trees around us, so we have mounds and mounds and mounds of leaves. So I know one particular person that says, let every last leaf fall off, every branch, then we will pick the leaves up.
Why are you looking at me? Why is she looking at me like that?
Yeah.
I'd have been calling you. That's it. You're on the list.
Flower beds, though, seriously, for leaves. There's some material that I've read that's leave the leaves in the flower beds because it acts as a blanket. Is that not good advice?
So it depends on what your planting material is that you have in the yard. Our hardiness zone is like a 5 to 6. So if you have planting materials that aren't doing well in our hardiness zone, sometimes that leaving the leaves over the top leaves an insulator for the roots to keep them warm and not be stricken by the frost as early and as severe when we get down into our really low temperatures that we see throughout the winter, and it'll help them survive throughout our winter months.
Okay, so this is actually good planting time as well?
Yes, so at the end of August, when the temperatures start going down below like the 60s at night, where it gets a little bit cooler and it doesn't get as hot during the day, where we're into the 70s and even sometimes the 60s during the day, it creates an environment for the planting material to really be able to create new growth on their roots and push roots into the ground for them to take a good hold before the winter months and then come back very nice in the spring. Whereas when it's really hot out, it's a lot more, they're kind of stressing themselves to stay alive instead of stressing themselves where they need to be working to get roots into the ground.
It's also a good time to cut back, correct, in shape?
Not quite yet, but like end of October, early November is a really good time to start cutting your herbaceous perennials and shrubbery back for the winter months.
But there are some that we shouldn't touch. There's some that maybe we might be stagnating some growth in the spring.
Correct. So there's certain planting materials that prefer to be cut in the spring and prefer to be cut in the fall. A lot of people like to cut their hydrangeas in the spring. A lot of people like to cut them in the fall too. So I mean, there's a lot of different personal preference on some planting materials. I personally like to cut my hydrangeas in the spring. It says it promotes a better flowering for the upcoming season.
Yeah, my hydrangeas, I can't figure them out. They're very temperamental.
There's one as big as a Volkswagen. It's up against the fence. I swear to God, it's as big as a Volkswagen.
And then there's another tiny little thing when we planted it.
And then the other two that came in the same batch, they're about as big as, they're not that big, like 3 by 3, in a diameter. They're very manageable. But one gets a lot of sunshine, like all-day sunshine. It actually gets so much sunshine, it kind of droops during the day, and then I have to water it. But the one in the back that doesn't get all that sunshine, that's the one that's gigantic. So those.
And it had 3 hydrangeas on it this year. Like last year, it had 100. This year, it has 3. And they're all different colors. And then the ones out front, they've changed colors. I don't know how many times.
Yeah, but they have a lot of flowers on them, but they don't get real big. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, hydrangeas are very temperamental, to say the least. There's so many different varieties of them, too. So certain ones do well in the sun. Certain ones need full shade. It's all the environment that they're growing in that makes them succeed.
And the soil, right? How about the soil? Is that sometimes we have clay in our soil? Does that affect it?
So the pH levels in the soil are what affect the endless summer ones. They're the ones that either have like a blue, a purple, or like a bright pink flower on them. So if you could changing the acidity and the pH levels in the soil can change the colors on the blooms.
How do you do that? How do you change? Is there any way to change the acidity levels?
Through an extensive fertilization program.
Oh,
it's quite a project.
Sounds complicated.
Yes,
This
very.
is beyond my pay grade.
Well, actually,
I stop at tomatoes. That's it.
someone we attended a neighbor's party in the spring, and I was talking to somebody I know, and she said that's all she has in her yard are hydrangeas. She said because they're so easy, she doesn't have to do a thing to them. But she also heard that if you put Kairos syrup in the soil, that'll help.
That corn syrup, that sweet corn syrup? No?
I've never heard that one before.
I didn't try it
Yeah.
because I didn't
I
want
would think
that.
it would attract bugs.
Or rodents or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I wouldn't
the
want
sweet smell.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I
want
would
that.
say no on that one.
But okay, what else could we do to our lawns and our shrubs and our flower beds at this time of year? What's important for us to remember?
A good thing to remember is after mowing so many times over the summer, if you're not someone who bags your yard every time or something, a good thatching and an aeration to get more air into the soil. So that way in the fall months as it starts to rain and such, the water is going to soak in and loosen up the compaction in the soil, and that'll promote a healthier lawn come springtime. And then I even recommend doing a fall fertilization to prepare the lawn to get a frost and get itself ready for the winter. It strengthens it.
I think in my materials, I read something to the effect that if you're going to fertilize your lawn one time a year, the fall is the most important time to do so. I would think it would be spring.
So right after the fall months, the yard's going to see the most harsh weather or most harsh conditions that it's going to see all year, because you're really raking the yard hard when you're raking up all your leaves, so it's getting scratched, and the root systems are starting to loosen up on the grass. So the best time to give it its food and its nutrients that it needs is in the fall, so that way it strengthens itself back up for the spring.
Would you say November? October, November? When's the best time?
Got to play with the weather on that one.
Yeah, okay,
So,
right. You got to keep an eye on the weather. Now, you were talking about aerating the lawn. How does a homeowner do that? How would I don't have a roller with the teeth on it to pull behind the tractor or anything.
You get one.
Yeah, I mean, you could call us. A lot of the rental companies in the area, if you're a homeowner who likes to do your yard work yourself, all the rental companies in the area, they're hard to get around the fall time just because everyone's renting them, but they're cheap and they're effective in the job that they do. Yeah.
Sounds like a job for my son.
Yeah, he's all
that's
about
right.
it.
He's all about it, is right. Sorry, we're taking business away from you.
No worries at all.
It's part of room and board.
Yes,
Pat.
it is.
You have
That's
to think
it.
of it that
Empty
way.
the dishwasher and thatch the lawn.
There you
Get out
go.
there.
Sounds like a good Saturday
Yeah.
to me.
Rob Bistran from Bistran's Outdoor Services. How does someone get in touch with you, please?
They can reach out to us a few different ways. They could call us 570-604-9427. They could also text that same number because that is a cell phone number for us. Or they could reach out to us via Facebook or email, and our email is listed on our Facebook page.
All right. Thank you, Rob. Pat, would you like to review a listing,
Yes,
please?
we have a listing in Dunmore. It's a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath home at 1724 Madison Avenue in Dunmore for $285,000. This home has beautiful hardwood floors, ductless air conditioning, a brick fireplaces. It's got good room sizes with an open kitchen design with a breakfast nook along with the formal dining room. Outside is a good-sized yard along with a detached 2-car garage, which I got to have a garage. I need a garage. Detached 2-car garage, and it's got a long driveway for plenty of off-street parking. All of this with low taxes of only $2,900 a year. That's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with a 2-car garage at 1724 Madison Avenue in Dunmore for $285,000, and that's listed by Connie Seagraves of our office.
Thank you, Pat. And I have an announcement. Nicole Clark, realtor, she's an experienced realtor, has joined Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. We're so thrilled to have her. Nicole demonstrates dedication, knowledge, success, and proven results as a multi-million-dollar performer. She's been licensed since 2014. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology and a minor in sociology from Louisiana Tech University. She lives in Waymart and is a wife and a mom, too. She's an integral part of our growing group of professionals. She changes lives by delivering dreams for her cherished clients. Her mission is to make a difference for her clients, one sale at a time.
Yeah, I like her a lot. She's a good addition to the office.
Welcome, Nicole. We'll return in just a few moments with more Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. When considering to sell or buy a home, why choose Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate? Let me tell you why. 70% of home buyers settle for the first agent they meet, and many regret it. 90% of home sellers hire an agent, but was it the right choice? Don't have agent remorse. I'm Jackie Ruddy, and I've been in and around the real estate business for most of my life. And at Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate, we've been selling real estate for half a century. But we do not do it halfway. You deserve better than average. Average doesn't help you. We know it's all about you and what you need. Century 21 is the #1 in brand awareness, is the most recognized name in real estate, and is the most respected in the industry. In this market, if you dream big, you need to move fast. So it makes perfect sense to contact Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate, 570-344-6724, and visit jruddy.com. That's JRUDDY.com. We're back with more Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker, and with Pat Devaney, my husband, fellow realtor.
And we're back, and we're going to have some good information.
With Rob Bistrand from Bistrand's Outdoor Services. We're having a great discussion with you today. You actually went to school for this. Tell me a little bit about that, please.
So I have a 4-year degree from Penn State University. I decided early on that I wanted to be in the landscaping industry for quite some time, and I looked around all over the place, and Penn State was the closest school with anything relative to landscaping. So my degree is actually in landscape contracting with a focus in design, but I also took a lot of maintenance classes that help us with identifying plant material and diseases and everything like that. So it helps me out a little bit because there's quite often a lot of landscapers in the area, but not everybody knows diseases and planting materials and such, and what's going to grow where and what will survive in the areas.
That is huge, I think, because you're right. I mean, I wouldn't know any of this, and when I hire a professional, I expect them to, but very, very few landscapers that I know of have this knowledge base.
Have any formal education. I mean, they fill their truck up with mulch and dump it on your yard, but I don't think seriously, they don't. I know they don't know what they're doing, some of them.
Yeah, we had classes everywhere from like a turf grass science to horticulture, and then our design classes were they involve surveying and drainage and all that kind of stuff on taking the layouts of somebody's property and being able to make 3D models and designs and layouts on the computers and actually show them physically what their house will come out looking like once we're done with it.
So you can tell me what my house, you can take pictures and then you can put the plants in the pictures and you can show me what it's going to look like before I do it?
So, I mean, depending on like the package that you want to work with,
right.
We could just take pictures and put plants in there with a simple app on our phone, or we can measure out your whole property, different elevations, measure out your house, build your house on a 3D, like almost like a SketchUp program, but it's a lot more intense. And we could build your house from the ground up, make it look exactly like it does, put the landscaping in, and then we could actually make like a 3D video night and day and walk you through your property with like a voiceover to highlight certain areas as we're going through it.
Why did you tell her that? Because now you're going to be.
My
my God! I'm
my head is-
watching her over
It's
there, and
spinning.
she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God!
I love it.
I must have this."
I
Yeah.
do.
I know. I think I know.
Well, the left side of our porch in the front yard, there's one area
Yeah,
where we
see?
can.
You've created a monster.
Yes, but see, there
yes,
is an
we
area.
have some. We have nasty stuff in there.
Right, and there's one area. There's nothing that survives there, and nothing. And I've planted all these different types of things, and they don't survive. So, guess
You
who's-
need an educated professional to come in and tell you what the problem is.
Yes, yes. Well, I know what the problem is. As I look across
Me?
the
Why
room.
is she looking at me?
No, actually, Rob, you're coming to my house probably today after the show because I have to strike while the iron's hot. I can't forget this. All right. Some of the things that you do, you just spoke of, you do the landscaping. Not only do you cut grass and cut the shrubs and maintain a yard like that, but you'll do actual planting of the landscaping. You do the design. You actually build boulder walls.
Correct.
You do walkways, outdoor living spaces, and
Can I ask something you mentioned there a second ago? It's cutting of the grass. I have questions.
but let me
Absolutely.
talk about
Oh.
what he's doing.
Oh, okay,
And then we
okay.
can go back to that.
Okay.
Okay. Drainage. You do spring cleanups, fall cleanups, and leaf debris pickup, winter snow removal, strictly commercial. And you do in-ground trampolines. That, if I had a little guy at home, which he's now 16, I think I would consider. That sounds interesting.
It does.
It's a good
And
time.
fun.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Now, the cutting of the grass. Everybody cuts their grass. What's the biggest mistake people make when they're cutting their grass?
It could be cutting their grass too short
Too short,
or cutting their grass too often.
too often.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the perfect height for you to cut your grass?
So we tend to stay around 3 to 3.5 inches, but the rule actually is do not take more than 1/3 of the grass's growth. So if your grass is 6 inches high, you don't want to take more than 2 inches off the top of the grass, because then you're putting it in, like, you're jeopardizing its health. So if your grass is extremely high, it's a good idea to cut it high, let it sit for a day or two, cut it again, and slowly work its way down to the level that you want it at. And if it's extremely high, it's a good idea to pick up the clippings, just because if those clippings are laying over the top, they're cutting off the air to the ground, which is then going to choke the grass out.
Okay, so should we mulch or should we bag?
That is a certain time of the year question. So in the spring and the fall, I like to bag because it picks up all the debris and it doesn't pat them down into the yard. Now in the summer months where it's a little bit drier and it's not growing as fast, it's good to let the clippings lay. As long as it's not all clumpy and everything and making it look a mess, it's good to let them lay because it's inevitably just putting natural nutrients back into the soil.
Okay, so spring and fall bag. I have to
You
remember
said
that.
that one of the mistakes people make is cutting too often. What's too often?
So, you kind of have to take that with the growth rate of how fast it's growing. So in the spring, if it's growing fast, at least once a week. Now in the summer months when it's dry out, if you don't have an irrigation system or you're not watering your yard every day, sometimes every 2 weeks or every 10 days, you have to kind of go with the growth because you don't want to just be cutting it to cut it. You want to cut it to be manicuring it.
We have a big brown lawn.
Well, I was going to say our lush green lawn turned into,
Looks like hay.
yeah, it would turn into straw. Like it was crunch, 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 crunch when we walked on it this
Yeah.
past year. And so we don't have an underground sprinkler system and we weren't watering our yard every day. But actually, if you water, there's a theory too that too much water is
Yes.
a bad thing also.
Yep, absolutely. So like too much water, too little water, it's just like cutting your grass too often or not cutting it enough. If you overwater your yard, so if you're watering for an extended period of time, you're actually washing the nutrients that the lawn needs down through, and it's just going to end up causing problems with your yard because they're not getting what it needs.
And if you water the lawn when the sun isn't, the strongest point of the day, are you burning the lawn?
Okay, so yeah, it's best to water early in the morning before the sun comes up, or after dinner when the sun goes down. It's kind of like putting water on a hot skillet. When the skillet's really hot, it steams and it ends up ruining the skillet that you're using. So you want to let it cool down first before you wash it, basically. And that's the same thing with grass. You want to let the grass cool down. Otherwise, you're going to be scalding it.
Okay, and then at night, if you water it, in the late night hours, you're actually promoting mold growth?
Yeah, so you want it to actually still be a little bit light out and let the ground be able to dry back up a little bit and let it soak in. Whereas at night, if you're soaking it really a lot at night, it's not getting the sunlight or anything to dry it back up a little bit. Because if it's too it's like putting a 2x4 in water. If the 2x4 is in water too long, it's going to end up rotting.
There's a lot to think about.
Certainly is.
There's a ton of stuff to think about, and that's why people should call Bistran's Outdoor Services. Rob Bistran.
I like that.
Yeah,
Lead-in.
you like that?
What do you call that? What do you call that?
Segway?
A segue. There we go.
All right, Rob Bistran. How does someone get in touch with Bistran's Outdoor Services, please?
They can reach out to us via text message or via phone call at 570-604-9427. Or they can reach out to us via Facebook, and our email is also listed on our Facebook, and you can email us as well.
Great. Good stuff. Would you come back next week?
Absolutely.
There's a lot we didn't cover that I want to talk about with you, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Pat?
Yes, we have a commercial property at 1644 Main Street in Blakely for $250,000. This is 120 by 95. This property was a used car lot, and it's fully paved, and it also has a covered area for many cars. You could probably put 10 or 15 cars under the covered area. The property has an office, a 20 by 38 two-bay garage that was built in 1974. And this is a very high visibility property, and it has low taxes of only $2,500 a year. That's a former used car lot with a garage and an office at 1644 Main Street in Blakely for $250,000, and that's listed by Stacy Granza of our office.
Thank you, Pat. Pennsylvania named one of the best states for...
Snow.
Please don't say that four-letter word. I am not ready for that.
Okay.
Beer lovers.
There's a surprise.
Right. PA is where it's at when it comes to beer. Pennsylvania was recently named the 5th best state for beer lovers in the United States, and this is according to VinePair. The Commonwealth has the second highest number of craft breweries in the United States at 486, and that's just behind California. In addition to such a high number of breweries, Pennsylvania also produces a ton of craft beer each year. Get this. Annually, 3,244,840 barrels of craft beer are made in our state each year, enough for 1,072,960,426 12-ounce beers. Nice. That makes PA the second highest producing craft beer state, the 4th highest per capita. In the Commonwealth, Willow Park in Bethlehem made Untapped's list of the 25 top-ranked breweries in the United States, while Pottsville's Yuengling is the oldest brewery in the country, founded in 1829. For those looking to taste the more popular brews across the state, Williamsport's Bulldog Brewery, Pittsburgh's Brew Gentleman, and Ardmore's Tired Hand Brewery have the 5 top-rated beers, with Brew Gentleman taking 3 of the top 5 spots. Locally, and I haven't drank beer in over 30 years, right? I would say Cooper's would be the place to go.
Right, they have the list of all the different beers.
For beer lovers.
Yeah,
that's
they
the
have
place.
everything.
And I think there's a couple other, isn't there an ale something or something? I don't know. But anyway, I'm out of that
scene.
That scene
that
for a long
when
time.
We get old.
Yeah, but
well, I'm old, not you, dear. I'm sorry.
I just thought that was fascinating information. I want to say happy Labor Day to everybody that's listening out there, and remember to tune in next Saturday at 11 a.m., Sunday at 11:30 a.m. to listen to more of the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21, Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 The Talker.